On the island of Newfoundland, upon the southwest coast, lies the little town of Burgeo, to whom I'll sing this toast. There are so many highlands that lie just off her shore, and when the cold north wind blows, you can hear the billows roar. The people from the village make their living from the sea. They like their independence, it shows that they are free. Some fish in their small boats in the wind, the rain and sleet, while others make their living on the offshore trawler fleet. They've known their share of tragedies down through the years, and when the memories overcome, they show their grief with tears. For they have lost some loved ones to the furies of the seas, for heartaches and heartbreaks are locked in memories. This village has got beauty carved on its rugged shore. 7 miles of pure white sand, who could ask for more? The mountains and the valleys where the rivers run so fast, and the salmon rise to the sportsman's fly as he makes another cast. Now the people of this village love their native home, for anyone who goes away, oh surely will return. Just like that lifelong mystery, the answer you won't know. What makes this rugged village burn so deeply in your soul? What makes this rugged village burn so deeply in your soul?
Good evening, and welcome to This Week in Review. Tonight in our stories we have garbage issues, diving, Mitten tree, recycling blitz, town council report. Please stay tuned for these stories after this. Try your luck on Wednesday and play TV bingo sponsored by the Sea Cadets. Cards are 6 for $5 and can be bought from any member of the Sea Cadets or in most stores around town. On Monday, the town council asked me to go to the garbage dump to see a mist that was made outside the dump gates because of garbage that was placed outside. It would appear that about 5 bags of garbage were left there, and then some animal got into it and tore it up. Garbage is a constant concern around town and is not disposed of properly and is thrown around. The town is asking everyone to make sure that their garbage is placed in the proper containers and not to litter around town. The Mitten tree in the Anglican Church was a great success again this year. On Monday, all the knitted items from the tree were sorted, counted, and boxed as 5 ladies met at Mrs. Doris McDonald's to prepare the items for shipping. Mrs. Doris McDonald spoke a few words on it. So how much stuff did you get?
Altogether, there's 333 items there. There's 322. There's 33 caps, and there's 149 pairs of socks, and there's 52 pairs of mitts, and there's 6 hoodies. There's 1 vest, and there's 1 suit, there's 1 sweater set, there's 26 tops, and there's 8 sweater coats, and there's 6 knitted sweaters. There's 12 scarves, and there's 2 pairs of pants, and there's 24 pairs of slippers, and there's 1 baby set.
Wow. So there's a lot of stuff going to this year, Doris?
And we're going to send it to the Salvation Army in Stephenville, the Salvation Army in Corner Brook, the Red Cross in Corner Brook, and the Transition House in Corner Brook.
Okay.
We decided again this year that we would send it to the region because we needed people in need of this stuff. Some of them, that's the only gift that some children will receive for Christmas.
Also on Monday, I was out to the Fisherman's Wharf as one of the local divers, Derek Compton, was called in to check the bottom of one of the fishing boats. Derek had dressed in his special gear before he could go into the water. His equipment was heavy and was helped getting into it. He then got into the water, which was cold due to it being late November, early December. Diving is one of the many small services offered that most community members does not get to see often. Burgeo Academy are the recycling blitz on Thursday. This year, a total of 10,434 items were collected. Each student at school is placed on a colored team, and the team with the most recyclables win. This time it was the red team, with a total of 2,721 items collected. The respect team was busy during lunch hour sorting the recyclables, which was then carried to the recycling depot. All monies raised will be going back into the school to purchase items needed that is not included in their budget. Mayor Jerome McDonald came by the studio with his town council report.
Good evening. Your town council report for November the 24th. First of all, the water treatment plant. I guess I don't have to tell you that the nice white water is gone. We're back to the yellow-orange color water. And this, of course, is due to problems at the water treatment plant. The nozzles that were installed, supposed to have a fine spray, and the holes in the nozzles has worn and got kind of large, and the sand in the filtration tanks have seeped out into Hearn's arm. Certainly caused a lot of problems, and as a result of the sand going through the pumps, the impellers in the pumps have been worn, and this has got to be replaced, so it's going to be next week before we get a new pump in to replace that. So it looks like we're going to be having yellow water for the remainder of next week. And the contractor is supposed to start commissioning in the system in March of next year. And at the present time, our flow rate is around 280 gallons per minute. So I just want to apologize to the residents of the color of the water. I guess it's not my place, it should be the contractor's place, but I'll do it. Apologize for the color of the water, where we've been used to the white water for some time now, and actually I just had a shower and I still don't feel clean, so that'll give you an idea by looking at the water what it can do to you. So hopefully next week this problem will be resolved and we'll be back to at least nice, clean, clear water. The arena, as you are aware by now, that the arena has its name, Storm Stadium. And referring to the arena again, council had to install a water line to the Zamboni room at the stadium. This is for putting water into the Zamboni. Also, there were an inspection carried out at the arena by TWIR Sprinkler Limited, and the CPU has to be replaced, and this is due with the fire alarm, so that system has to be replaced. And also at the arena, there will be lots of activities. Your rec commission has lined up lots of activities again for this winter, so take advantage of it and enjoy every moment of it. The TIOW project has ended, that's completed. We received, in the beginning of the program, $380,000. And I gave a report, the last one was on a Sunday night. The following Monday, we did receive another $42,000. And we were told in the beginning, if there were any funds left at the end of the program, we would receive more. So we received another $42,000. Which gave us a total of $422,000 to spend in this community. Created 23 jobs, and also the business community benefited as well by supplies and materials. And we felt it was an excellent job done, both on the walking trail and the knitting. And we're looking at applying for another program in the new year. Now, we also, in that area, asked to install a parking lot, and at the present time, we're looking for funding to put a parking lot there by the entrance of the walking trail. And also in that area, the speed zone from Earnsarm Falls to Mr. Joseph Iscox is at the present time 70 kilometers. We have asked the Department of Highways to reduce that down to 50. Over the years, there's been several accidents coming around that bend. It's a U-turn. You've got a lot of traffic coming up from Hearn's Arm. And we're planning to develop that area more, so it's time now to reduce that speed limits from 70 down to 50. I've had a lot of complaints over the years of traffic coming out along by the garage there at a high speed as well, with traffic coming out from Scott's Garage. So hopefully that'll be done in the near future. The playground, as I mentioned in the report earlier, we applied for funding to build a mini soccer field on the playground. This funding has been approved in the amount of $15,000. It's a bit late in the year now to start that project, so that project will go ahead in the spring, and it will be done by Cooper's Construction, and that'll be no cost to the town. I want to say congratulations on behalf of the town of Burgeo to the Arbor Authority for winning the environmental award. It says that they've done something right. And the Burgeo Library is celebrating their 75th anniversary. It's a long time to have a library here in this community, and I remember, I guess, the little one that was out the road there. And I also want to commend the Lions Club for doing a beautiful job at the Lions Center, the community center. It certainly makes it look very presentable to the public. And the workers that completed that certainly done a good job as well. So I want to say congratulations to all. Remembrance Day service. I attended the Remembrance Day assembly at Burgeo Academy on November 10th. The students there, I think, was taking this Remembrance Day very seriously. They're being educated each year, and it's good to see that they carry on the remembrance of our fallen soldiers and war veterans. And the students involved there have done a great job, and I want to commend the teachers for educating the kids of this community on the importance of never lose sight of Remembrance Day. Also, Remembrance Day service at the church on November 11th was a good service. For a large turnout from the community, it's good to see the cadets, the RCMP, the Rangers, and other organizations parade out on Remembrance Day to honor our fallen soldiers again and remember the war veterans. And it was also good to see, I guess, Chief Petty Officer Guy Sims and Scott Green, two members of the military here for Remembrance Day in our community. And I think it's something that got to continue, and sometimes, you know, we kind of forget. But, you know, the words is, lest we forget. And we sometimes don't appreciate what we have in this world, but we wouldn't have it without those people that fought in those battles. So it's something that we definitely got to carry on as long as we live. Fire Department awards. At our last council meeting on November 24th, presented award to Fire Chief Glenn Ann, 30 years of service to the fire department. Mr. Levi Rose, 20 years of service to the fire department. And Bruce Green also had 30 years to the fire department. And on behalf of the town of Burgeo, I want to congratulate those gentlemen for their dedication and hard work to this community, and giving up their own time, voluntary, because it's a voluntary service for the people of this community. And we certainly appreciate what they've done and hope they continue to carry on. So thank you very much, gentlemen. Council received a letter from Mr. Jerome Kennedy, Minister of Health and Community Service, in regard to the long-term care bids at the Cholera Health Care Center. As you're aware, in my earlier report, I mentioned we were writing the minister to try and get an extra wing put on the hospital. So he referred us to Dr. Susan Gillum, who's in charge of the Western Health in Corner Brook. So hopefully in the early new year we will get a response back from Mrs. Gillum, and because this is something that's badly needed with our aging population. So we will continue to push that file. Council also received a letter from Kathy Dunderdale, the Minister of the Crown. Well, actually, as of today, she's Premier of the province. Got sworn in a couple of hours ago. And this was concerning the provincial Purple Ribbon campaign, which will take place in the province from November 25th to December the 10th. It's all about violence against women. And I got to say that Council do not condone any violence at all in the community, especially against females. And of course, nobody knows what goes on inside of one's doors, but if there's people out there who's being abused, whether it's physically or sexually, just contact the proper authorities, because nobody shouldn't have to live in those conditions. So the Purple Ribbon campaign is to work towards stopping violence against women. On the fish meal plant situation, the pipeline going out to the reach where some of the blubber was coming from, that's been repaired. And they're installing the new equipment at the plant as I speak. And hopefully it will rectify some of the smell, but the bottom line is we're not going to get rid of all the smell. It's fish, I mean, smells, and that's it. It's a common thing. And there's no toxic involved there. The environment people told us that there's nothing there, only fish offal being cooked. And I guess when you're cooking fish, it creates a smell. And because the bottom line, I guess, is the oil that comes from those fish, the capsules. I take them every day, cod oil capsules, seal oil capsules, whatever. It's good for the system. And of course, the remainder, the meal itself, once it's dried, is used by farmers to fertilize their farmlands, and we eat the vegetables that come out of that. So there's no toxic, there's no chemicals added. The only thing added to this product is water once it's cooking. And of course, we will, seeing him on the plant in the new year, I plan to have a meeting with Mr. Belbarry sometime in the new year and see if we can create more jobs there. And especially seeing the mackerel situation this year, we all know that mackerel is a migrating species. It don't stay in those waters wintertime. The mackerel was on its way out of the Gulf, come along our shores there when the sailors were in for a couple, 3 weeks, and they certainly caught some. But the mackerel don't stay around. It's gone on down now to the seaboard of the United States in the warmer waters, and hopefully next year they'll be back. So I kind of feel that if those mackerel continue to come back, then maybe there should be a little production line there for 25, 30 people to process some of this mackerel. So that'll be something we'll be talking to Mr. Barry about in the new year. At our last meeting, the building committee approved one application, and this was to an extension to a 10 by 16 shed. And the policy committee is still hard at work with council's policies. Some of these policies will be made public in the near future. I also want to mention over the weekend, last weekend, there were 4 or 5 bags of garbage left at the garbage dump outside of the gates. And whoever was responsible for this, we would certainly like for them to stop and place the garbage in the proper containers wherever they are. It's against regulations to put garbage outside of there. On Monday morning, there was certainly a mess. The garbage bags were all torn apart, and our employees had to clean up that area. Now, whether it come from some of the boats that was around, or whether it come from Peter's Troyes or Granny's Brook or anywhere, it's not allowed, it's not tolerated, and anybody caught will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. So whoever's responsible, I would like for them to stop doing this and place it in the proper containers. Also, a week or so ago, Bugs and Debbie Green was in town and doing a video. I attended that. Certainly a nice performance they put off, but I guess the most important thing that I see for the community, it's going to be a great promotion for tourism. Bugs and Debbie, they travel down to the States doing concerts and other places, and they were selling those videos. And the video they did about Burgeo and Ramyo should be released in April, and that one certainly, I think, once that gets on, to go promote our sandy beaches and promote tourism into this community. So it's a good tourism promotion. At our last meeting, donations were given to the Santa Claus Parade in the amount of $25. And donations were given to the Burgeo Academy in the amount of $100. And of course, we have the Color Scholarship, which we have some applications in, and that will be dealt with on our meeting of December 15th. We also had a request from the San Sea Committee to have a street dance next year in Burgeo on our main street here, and that was approved. The street being from this office here, the local BBS office, to the drugstore. So it would be barred off outside of that, and that's where the street dance would take place in front of the council office. So hopefully I'll get a chance to have a step dance in the street next year. I think it's a good thing to promote tourism as well. They do it on George Street every year. The council has posted for a part-time machine operator or equipment operator, and the deadline for applications on that is December the 8th. That'll be closing. And Mr. Gordon Ingram has been appointed the representative for the town of Burgeo on the museum committee. So Mr. Ingham's got his hands full with different appointments. And at our last council meeting, invoices were paid in the amount of $14,148.97. A little did you know, in 1954 to 1957, Anford Anderson of Burgeo was mayor. Ronald Iscock was deputy mayor. Onslow Vatcher was councillor. Percy Stones, councillor. Edward Dolman, councillor. Cyril Bugridge, councillor. Max Collier, councillor. William Eyre, councillor. Ward Coley, councillor. Simeon Spencer Sr., councillor. Max Anrose, councillor. And Mrs. Sarah Melbourne was the town clerk, and that was from 1954 to 1957. So that's a little history of your community to think about. On to the next time, good night, and may God bless.
This concludes our program for tonight. Thank you for watching. Good night.